Hello and welcome back to the Overwatch Championship at DreamHack Winter 2016, powered by GeForce GTX. We're back here on the desk and we have our first decider match on its way. It's going to be the decider for Group B, Fnatic, going up against LDLC. And LDLC has shown us a really strong performance in their first match of the day.
Yeah, we saw Clanton play a really good 76, Mete play a very good Diva, and then Ube play a really good Roadhog for the side of LDLC. I'm interested, though, to see if Fnatic changes anything up after that loss.
I think what I was most interested with LDLC, and it will get to Fnatic, is the synergy between their 76 and their Diva player. It's opening up some space, shutting down the opposing 76 was something that Mete did really well. Mete is Kobeing those bombs, too. He's hitting them really well. We haven't seen such good Diva play since we saw Nicholas run it for complexity. And can they shut down Cool Matt? And can Cool Matt and Hoppy work together with that same kind of synergy between their Diva and their 76? They're going to have to. Cool Matt was a little bit quiet, honestly, in that last set, and that's not something you expect from him. He is everything ZP said he was. He is top-tier DPS, top-tier hit scan, maybe a readjustment period, but Hoppy, I think, is also adjusting to playing Diva, and they didn't work super well together.
I do have to say, though, I really doubt that that Fnatic is going to give LDLC Soldier as much space as Mouse did, because they really let Clinton do whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he really had like space for days to just shoot around like a crazy person and like land those hits. So I don't think Fnatic is going to give them that much room.
I'd be shocked if they did.
It would be very shocking.
I mean,
I don't recommend it for you.
No, in the series earlier, Clanton did a great job using that attack visor and actually picking up kills with it. A lot of people we've been seeing, they've been using the Soldier ultimate, and then it just gets eaten up by Diva. Diva just gets right in their face. Mete did a great job in that series. I'm interested, though, to see if, the guys on Misfits made Tracer so effective against Fnatic.
They did.
And, like, you kind of saw, like, they played McCree for what on Ilios for all of like 30 seconds, and then it was
They
like...
tried, though. They tried. Before we are diving more into our thoughts of those two teams, we're going to take a look at the brackets to see how they actually got to where they are right now. Here is the bracket for Group B. Fnatic went up against Mousesports. 2-1 was the result of that one. Misfits, Team LDLC, 2-1. Misfits and Fnatic just met each other in the winner's bracket match, and Misfits came out the victor. Now we're in the lower part of that bracket. Team LDLC went up against Mousesports, 2-0. Mousesports is already out by now, and now Fnatic and Team LDLC are fighting for the last slot to advance to the playoff. It's going to be a very, very, very meaningful match for both of those teams, and LDLC looked really, really strong.
And if you're LDLC, I think you got to try and force the King of the Hill map into here. I mean, Mouse takes the King of the Hill off of Fnatic, and then you just saw Misfits take Ilios. Like, I feel like you have to get a King of the Hill in there.
I think you do it because Fnatic clearly shows that they can't play King of the Hill. It's not even really close. They weren't really even hanging with teams on those stages. They had like a kind of decent first stage and then just got wrecked on Ilios. Like, you can take them to Lijiang or Ilios and feel fully comfortable. I think the one thing you may want to avoid is, like I've mentioned several times before, is King's Row, but I think they're both good payload teams, so it'll be interesting. The one thing I will say in Fnatic's favor of, we talked about shutting down Clanton, not giving him the space, they do at least identify the problem, right? They're not stubborn on it. So like they understood that Soon was the problem and that we had to find an answer to it. It was the execution which lacked. And I don't know if you necessarily run a Tracer against Fnatic because of what Soon did, because there's Tracer and then there's Soon.
Tracer,
exactly.
I mean, other than the good Clinton plays we saw from LDLC's side, who else has impressed you?
I thought Ube was really effective with his hooks on Roadhog. I feel like every time in the Mouse match that me and Jason were casting, it's like, Mouse would get in a great position, they'd be ready to go, and then Ube would land a hook, and you'd get a kill, and they'd have to back all the way out, and he did it consistently over and over.
Well, let's just set up another Hog v Hog then, because I know Twitch chat loves keeping score of Hog v Hog, and I don't know if they actually got fully satisfied yesterday with the one that we set up. So let's look at the other side, because Bud's Hog was absolutely sick too. He was not missing hooks. The only hooks he missed are ones that didn't have a target. He was just firing at doorways, hoping someone was there. I'm not even counting those in his average. That's not fair. That's
I would have loved to see his pick accuracy in that game.
It's when a pitcher intentionally walks someone, like those don't count either. Those aren't.
Do they not count?
It's a prediction hook. They don't count. They don't count.
We need an MLB statistician up here immediately.
I'm the scorekeeper in Hog v Hog. Oh, okay. Those don't count when you blind hook. You get half a point if you hit them. You get no
so
negatives.
Hex is now the commissioner of the hook.
Apparently so.
Commissioner of this DreamHack desk, apparently.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what that means entirely.
No, it doesn't.
Me neither, but I accept it, and I will.
Okay with it,
I will embrace this whole situation. It's going to be fantastic.
It feels exactly like you weren't the commissioner. Like I feel like you're not really doing much as the commissioner right now.
Which is what a commissioner does.
That's fair.
Now, if you're looking at Fnatic, how do you guys feel about HafiCool being that flex player now and CoolMap being on those hit scan heroes?
I mean, we saw them go away from it a little bit towards the end. You saw CoolMat switch back to the Zarya. But I feel like CoolMat's been very effective on the 76. I think you do need D.Va in some stretch. And I know HafiCool was playing a pretty good D.Va.
He was half a second too late and half a foot off in so many situations was Hafi that they would get a pick and then Hafi showed up to stop the person who just got the pick. It was just a half a second too late. He was trying to get those giant bombs over the top and he clipped his ankle on one trying to go over the top and he ended up like dropping the bomb right there. Like it was just a little bit off. I think they're just still finding their comfort on it and it's not necessarily they have faith in it. They believe in both players' ability on it, but it just didn't. It was execution and it was millimeters.
Yeah, I think it was definitely, just getting used to running D.Va. I also think it's part of just Misfits forcing such a fast, aggressive playstyle that I feel like a lot of teams haven't dealt with. Like, when was the last time you saw teams run like just like Winston with like, and it's probably just threw Fnatic completely off guard, like all their timings. And I feel like that has to play.
But you know what I find so interesting about that? I mean, what Misfits did is not a strat which is something completely new. Players had to deal with just this kind of dive strat before. So how comes Fnatic was not able to deal with something they had been dealing with for months?
It's a wonderful question.
That is a wonderful question.
Adding Widow into it, I think, throws a wrinkle into it because it's just too much for D.Va to deal with. Do you send her over to deal with the dive and help out who they're getting dived on? She go back to do that, and then Widow is just raining terror from the center on Dorado, or do you send her up to deal with the Widow and then it opens up your back line? So it's just it's overloading D.Va, and especially a player who's not necessarily known for their D.Va play, maybe a little newer on it. It's just too much to process.
And then I think for Fnatic it gives the problem that when he switches off of D.Va, then CoolMat has to go back over to tank. Like there's so many different parts you have to change to make it work at that point.
Right, we have the maps ready for you guys now, so let's take a look at what the teams have been picking to be played on. All right, we're going to see Hollywood first, and on LDLC side, Numbani. I don't think we've seen. Have we seen Numbani so far in this tournament? I don't think we did.
So, no.
And Dorado has been picked by Fnatic. Any of that which surprises you guys?
Fnatic not taking King's Row?
Maybe, I guess, maybe they lied to me, and maybe Dorado was their best map. But I think Kings would have been a good one. Where did Kings get banned out? It got banned out again at the very last ban from LDLC. So maybe they were hoping it was going to be the decider. Maybe they're hoping it sneaks in there, because there are some teams that don't like Kings Row necessarily, and or are okay running it. It's been kind of a standard one, like, oh, well, that'll end up being the decider. We'll ban out everything. Yeah. But it was the last ban yet again. It's exactly what happened to them last time. I think it makes Uber happy, because he wanted to see the supercharged dive comp of Winston and D.Va. If we go to Numbani, you will probably see the supercharged dive comp of Winston and D.Va.
So if we are looking at what we've been saying so far, I didn't hear a clear favorite right there. So please give me your predictions. Matt, who do you think is going to take this?
I'm going to go with Fnatic. I would just be shocked if they go out of the tournament at this stage. I think they're just too good, too talented. I'm going to go with Fnatic.
I tend to agree. There are teams that are a little tiltier and would roll over after what happened to them. I expected them to win the last set. I take Fnatic in this, and you know what? I take them 2-0.
All right, then. Do I get... I was just checking if I'm already logged in for something.
You're good.
No, okay, I'm good. I have the freedom to vote now. That's fantastic. I shall use that wisely. See, now this is one of those weird moments where it's like the heart against the head.
You won't take LDLC.
I dare you. LDLC, are you daring me?
You won't do it.
If you're daring me to do something, I have to do it. So I know Fnatic is probably going to take it, but I really want LDLC to take it. And for once, I'm going to follow my heart. I'm going to lock in LDLC. So
This is
yeah.
great because now I'm kind of right on either side.
Yeah, he's going to be right either way.
No, I know how you play politics.
Good job, man. Good job. Now we are ready for this next game. It's going to be a deciding game between the guys from Fnatic and Team LDLC. Get ready for all the actions with our casters.
Alrighty, thank you, Zoe and the desk. We are here to watch Fnatic versus LDLC. Both teams fighting to stay alive in this tournament. I'm joined here by the one and only Jason Kaplan, and this is somehow
the one and only. I'll take that. I'll take that. Like Matt got wonderful earlier when he was casting, and I just got Jason Kaplan. But the one and only, I'll take.
You're the one and only man, the myth, the legend. We've somehow never casted together, so this is the first. Let's rock it.
Let's go. Let's go. It's going to be a great game, hopefully, actually. LDLC, I hope they put up a good fight against Fnatic. It just comes down to how they're going to play. Honestly, LDLC, there's so many men on the team that honestly performed outstanding. Clanton, first of all, talk about his soldier. His positioning was great in terms of, well, he didn't attack from the front line. He always looked for different angles to go at with his tactical advisor. He always looked to take down the back line, and he would actually sacrifice himself if he could take down 2 people towards the back, like we did see on Hollywood.
And that's something I'd like to see more from players in general, where players do try and stay alive, but hey, if you can dive the back line, take down 2, and get that 1-for-2 trade, it's still super, super worthwhile. And again, I think players are realizing some of the different trades and different ways they can approach fights. You don't always have to try and win every fight. Your life isn't even all that important, but if you can put your team at advantage when it's all said and done, that's what you want to do.
Very true. And, you know, look on the side of Fnatic, because we didn't really get to talk about them too much. Ignore the titles on the top. Guys are actually reversed. LDLC is on the defending side, and Fnatic is on the attack. But Buds, he was off the hook on Roadhog on Gibraltar. He was doing insane work with him and is really showing that he's been able to adapt to like another kind of up close and personal shotgun kind of hero.
Absolutely, and Buds, he's a player where he's multi-talented. He's been around for a long time. Actually, him, Cool Hat, and Tailspin go really far back. But Buds, he's been really comfortable on Reaper, but just fit into that hog role very well. He's a threat. And Matt, now this is interesting, where we saw Matt on the hit scan DPS a bit in the last series. Now he's going on to D.Va, which again, he's very good at flex tanks, but it's a little bit surprising. Happy Cool now gonna be looking for those early pickoffs on this Hanzo.
That's probably why you actually went D.Va, because they want to run a Hanzo here, which we've seen NIP do to great success 6 times yesterday, if you were joining us for that one, because that is. But they're just trying to allow Buzz to get this easy hook off onto, but also, not to mention, they're rushing in extremely quickly here, trying to force a fight.
And they get D.Va right out of her mech. She's not dead yet, but this is going to give Fnatic a lot more room. They don't have to worry about the D.Va deep diving on them right now, and Buzz moving forward. That 6-second cooldown has passed, goes for another hook, doesn't get it, but Fnatic making all sorts of space right now. They're getting onto a point, they're pushing LDLC back, and this is very different from Mouse versus LDLC.
Yeah, Metamorphosis is taken out immediately here, not to mention Haskell picks up 2 in total in that fight, with Buds picked up 2 himself. So once Metamorphosis fell down, they just didn't have the front line they needed to really deal with Fnatic.
And Jason, when you say that's because you take a look at this here, once the D.Va is down, they were just able to win the poke war and push them back?
Hey, that's a good point of it. Like the fact that, as Metamorphosis, right, your shield's gonna go down eventually. There's a Roadhog and a Hanzo, so you have to make that fight or flight kind of move. Do you back away, like wait for shield to recharge, or do you actually run in and try to actually attack? Which is something Metamorphosis did quite a bit in the earlier match, where even in a Graviton Surge, instead of keeping a shield up, you'd rather charge. He's a very aggressive Reinhardt, and I think we're gonna see that reflected. Well, we already have seen it reflected today.
Absolutely. So, Fnatic right now on the payload, moving forward here once more. Custa holding on to the Transcendence. Neither team with an overwhelming ultimate advantage here just yet, but Fnatic is able to take this next fight. Not only will they go through most of second, they're going to be able to keep that momentum going forward. We do see a slight engage coming in from LDLC. They back out. A little bit of aggressiveness coming from D.Va. And do you like how LDLC is giving Fnatic this much room right here?
Not really, but the fact that they don't have a Lucio means they cannot force the fight themselves, and they also can't back away if Fnatic do go for the engage because they have Vonethil. But with Vonethil already down because he got pulled in, now they're going to force something.
All right, Happy Cool right now backing up. Does hold on to the Graviton. Fnatic in general, given some space here. They lost a few people around. Stoop is down, so they just need to back up.
Cabal uses Transcendence to actually like engage the fight because they didn't want to take too much chip pushing in, but they got really nothing off of that. They got 1 kill. Clancy even uses Tactical Visor, so a little bit questionable. And actually can definitely come back to hurt them in the long run, but now with Fnatic with 6 ultimates ready to go, you know what's going to happen, ZP. It's going to be explosive.
Absolutely, and there won't be any Graviton Dragon here. There's no Zarya in play, but Coolmat very good at using D.Va to her max potential. Fnatic just has all the tools available to them here right now. So for LDLC, their best hope here is just to drain this and give me hard to win. 2 of the bomb going to back, and that! The triple kill coming out. 2 kills come back from LDLC on the other end, but it's just not going to be enough. When you lose 3 people to a D.Va explosion, it's so hard to recover.
How I don't really understand how that happened, actually, because they had a Reinhardt, but Mez didn't put his shield up in time. I'm not sure exactly what went down there, but it should never happen ideally, but credit to Coolmat and Mete actually earlier on to hit so many of these great self-destructs.
And here comes the Dragon right now, going right into that doorway. How hungry is that Dragon? Not hungry enough to get a kill, but enough to push LDLC back. Fnatic on the payload, moving it forward once more. See HappyCool getting the pick on the Mez end. Fnatic with unbridled aggression, just moving past the spawn point, getting pick after pick. LDLC not able to recover right now, and Fnatic setting a blistering fast time. And Jason, what does LDLC have to do to recover right now?
I'm thinking that like maybe a Lucio switch up. Like, what have we seen on a Clown in terms of maybe sleep darts and also nano boost?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah, exactly, not a whole lot. And I think just the passive movement speed that you get out of a Lucio helps counter Hanzo because you can obviously move a little bit quicker. You can dodge hooks with that one. You can force fights, which is what they need to do to kind of stop. And it needs to stop Fnatic. If you have the frontline Fnatic attacking and your LDLC being forced back, being forced to walk away, HappyCool never gets challenged. He gets free damage.
And HappyCool right now, he's been very comfortable on Hanzo, getting pick after pick off. Sure, there's a little bit of roughness in the beginning of point 2, but other than that, Fnatic has been rolling. Now, LDLC, they have a lot of tools available here. Mesomorphs could just open up the Earth Shatter. They also oob with the whole hog. So we'll see how this works out here. Clanton, though, has been under much more pressure in this game. Hasn't had nearly as much from his soldier. And Fnatic actually backing off right now. They didn't like how that engagement is going, but that's smart. Custa, he almost went down, was able to back off. Instead of having a pick off and waiting 20 seconds here, Jason, they're able to come right back in.
Well, they also backed away because Cloud and Clanton popped their ultimates, the Nano Boost Tactical Visor, and they got absolutely nothing off of that. And now you have Fnatic going for the re-attack with the help of the Lucio, forcing the Transcendence already at a Cabal here. This is not looking good for LDLC.
No, not in the least, but they do come right back in. Ube with that hook on the Custa, setting the stage. HappyCool gets picked, 3 kills here from LDLC. And now my question is, he has the Dragon Strike, but do you expect Happy to swap off this Hanzo if Fnatic gets a little bit stalled out here?
It depends. I think him and Buds are actually working really, really good together. Like with the comp they're running, right? It comes down to like one hook or one random headshot out of a Hanzo to really take a fight, period. I think there's always potential to switch, but I don't think it's necessarily needed. They've lost, what, like 2 fights, and like one of those they kind of messed up on anyways, so it's not really broke, so there's no real need to fix it just yet.
All right, well, here comes Fnatic. HappyCool is holding on that Dragon Strike. Coolcat going to be looking for an explosive opening once more. The Diva explosion going to the backline, and it grabs Ube. Ube wasn't able to get away from that, and here comes Fnatic. Dragon going to be clearing the way right now. It's still 5v5. LDLC able to back out. A counter Graviton is in. They're swinging the hammer, but Transcendence stops them from getting anything. Late Earthshot comes in the fight, but I don't know if the fall through is there.
Oh, Mete will at least get one on the HappyCool, but Stoop is just going off, swinging away here towards the backside of the entirety of LDLC. Still continuing just to left click as much as they possibly can, and they've got a lot of kills. They have 5 people left to go here. LDLC, they do have, you know, Ubo with his ultimate ready to go, but do they have what it takes to hold them at this last point?
We'll have to see. LDLC, they're going to have to move quickly here with that stall. You can expect Mid-A to come in here and do a little bit of stalling. And now here comes Ube off the spike, grabs the hook, down goes Vonnet though. A big pick off there from Ube. He might fall in the process, but the key to these defenses here, Jason, you just need to get a few pickoffs and then respawns will do the rest.
Yeah, well, they've got more than a few pickoffs here. The entirety of Fnatic just falling to this one. So Fnatic has switched some things around. HappyCool is on McCree, built up 50% of ult on that actual first attack of it. But Clanton, I just want to point out, like HappyCool on the Hanzo, he actually 1v1 Clanton with Tactical Visor up. And it wasn't like a headshot kill. It wasn't like just, you know, one shot. I mean, he actually hit him with like 2 or 3 shots to finish him off. So really showing how prolific, how proficient in general HappyCool is with that hero. But Snoop's already gone down.
HappyCool pretty multi-talented, and Snoop, yeah, he was just a little bit far out there. Rest of Fnatic was not with him, and that's going to delay them a bit because take a look at the time. There's only 1:30 left right now for the side of Fnatic. So they have room for 2 pushes here, but they really can't get comfortable.
4 tanks out of Fnatic. I think Hexagrams is over sitting here watching, getting excited. He's waiting for that 5th tank to come out to replace one of the supports. But 4 tanks, this is going to be hard to beat, but they do have Cabal. Like, they do have the Discord Orb. They don't have a Reaper to deal with the chunky, you know, the giant health pool targets out of Fnatic, but they still have everything they need to really shut this one down.
Well, they do get that early sleep dart in the Buds. They're not really too eager to overly engage on. It's a little bit far back. They did try and get the hook. Doesn't land, and here comes Fnatic. Their engagement on the way. Custa goes down. He's not able to transcend. What a huge pickoff coming in from Metamorphs. And LDLC pushing it right back. Fnatic gonna have to back off and go for one final push.
If I'm not mistaken, he actually charged into Custa to kill him. Like, that's really rough to do. I mean, Zenyatta, like, he's not very fast, but he sits in the back line normally, and now Uber's just trying to hold on towards the backside, wait for some teammates to respawn back in, but they do have self-destruct. Like, they do have nano boost. They have so many ultimates held on to this that Fnatic need to force these out to waste them for now so they can finish off the map.
Vonnet, though, just needs a sound barrier there, Jason. What do you think about that? They've already downed people right now. They're struggling and staggering. they would have had one more fight, but it seems like they're putting all in right here.
Yeah, it's just getting hectic right now. I think they're just trying to make something happen in the last few seconds, and maybe the sound barrier was wasted a little bit, but then again, you know, if someone hit a different shot, maybe things could have changed around a little bit differently, but now there's 10 seconds to go here, ZP. Fnatic, if anything, even touch the point in time.
It's going to be real close if they're able to do it. And again, it's weird for me because they lost 2 people early on in that fight. I don't understand why they didn't just back off and go for one more fight. They had the time. They went all in on a losing fight. And as a result, they're not going to bring that payload to its final destination.
So they didn't complete the half, but I still feel like the pressure comes to LDLC. We've seen Fnatic, they're tried and tested. They've been around for such a long time. Not exactly as this roster of 6, but the majority of them. And LDLC, who did really well actually on payload maps earlier on up against Mouse Sports, have a big challenge ahead of them. I'm trying to think who's going to be the stand-up man. Are they going to change things up a little bit? We saw on the attack, they did go for the Lucio and the Ana combo. On defense, they'd like to prefer the Ana and the Zenyatta. I wonder if the Lucio change would be enough, though, for them to actually get into the point. I actually wonder why, in particular, they're so heavily, not necessarily reliant, but they choose to have a Zenyatta over Lucio.
It's hard to say. I mean, there is a trend in the community where certain supports, they've never really been a big fan of Ana, and they love mixing in Zen as much as possible.
Right.
I mean, you go all the way back in the day, and people were Zen mains. They just did nothing but Zen, and sure, he's come in and out of the meta as time has gone on, but some people I know, Custa, very vocal on the Fnatic side, where he really likes Zenyatta over Ana wherever possible now. Obviously, there's a lot of conflicting views on that. Ana has incredible healing per second, one of the most vital heroes in the game right now, but I think teams really do want to spread out and try to play to their strengths a little bit more than playing directly to the meta. And hey, I mean, you look at cases like Soon, where he's able to run a Tracer as a specialist or Shadowburn. I think specialist supports could be a thing too as time goes on.
You know, I can see that. Like, for instance, Rogue, like when we were over at APAC in China casting, they never really played well with like the current meta was, with the Reaper May, but when they played what they knew was their true strengths, that's when they excelled. And you look at NIP, like they're not really playing necessarily what's in the meta with the Diva. They want to play with the Zarya. They want to have their own identity and play what they're comfortable with and make it work in the current situation, which Fnatic seem to have been doing so far.
And for me, by the way, that is incredible to watch as an observer because that just makes things more interesting where NIP has their identity, Misfits very clearly has their identity right now, and the
it's odd, but they have their identity, yeah.
Yeah, but odd or not, like it's a case where it's just cool to see and makes things and matchups all the more interesting. But we are going to be getting in here on the second round. LDLC will be on the attack, and Meta will be on that Diva here once more. Clanton in the back at 76.
Yeah, Meta's done some actually really good work. He's eaten a lot of good ultimates. He's actually had some really good positioning. But Metamorphosis, again, he gets too aggressive. He charges straight in, trying to go for that kill, but he pays the price for it.
Right away. Fnatic punishing. LDLC not able to get the early pickoffs. And Cool Matt, he's back on that 76. And I was wondering about that here, where Fnatic maybe was going to go back to Matt not being on DPS, figuring they needed him on the flex roll. But now they're comfortable to put Matt on the 76. And Jason, do you think we're going to see Matt in the cafe a whole lot here?
I think there's a lot of different places he can fight from. I think generally it comes down to where his team wants to hold. And when you have a Zenyatta on your team, like a soldier becomes even stronger. Just the fact that he has his own biotic station, biotic field. He has the Orb of Harmony out of his Zenyatta. There's no reason for him to not be on high ground in some positions, just to make it a little bit harder for LDLC to just walk in towards this point, which you can already see. LDLC are struggling to find the avenue they actually want to attack from.
Fnatic, though, they're giving up a lot of room right now. LDLC is able to get into that point, but the hook is down, and that means Buds is going to come up over here, look for a hook of his own, and Cool Matt immediately punishing Mesomorphs. Mesomorphs a little bit too far up, taken down immediately. When you lose your Reinhardt early, it's so hard to keep momentum, and there's nothing stopping Buds from landing hook after hook, or just Matt ripping them apart from the backline.
And considering LDLC are running a Zenyatta this time, we haven't really seen much aggressive plays out of them. They haven't run forward to force the fight. They haven't been able to back away, and I've seen a lot of people, I don't know, they kind of stopped moving for some reason. I guess they're just talking things out about like, all right, what ultimates do they have available? What did they use in that last fight? How can we, win a fight without having to commit really much of anything? And it looks like even Stoop is just trying to...
Oh, we have a drop. We need a pause.
We do have a drop. All right.
So this is the case where LDLC, they're just like, wait, we lost someone, so presumably this is going to get paused here in just a moment. But you take a look at the scenario of the game right now. Fnatic, they're going to have a lot of ultimates up for this next fight, Jason.
Yeah, so if we were to talk about this, if we were to like talk to the newer players trying to get competitive and try to figure out how to play, so let's kind of explain what you do in a situation if you're the attacking team, knowing the defending team has a lot of ultimates.
So you know the attacking team has a lot of ultimates, and what do you do as the defending team? I think the key...
No, other way around.
Oh, other way around, okay, yeah.
The defending team has a lot.
It's one of those cases where you have to go for a junk rush. You have to go, all right, we're going to move in. Maybe we sacrifice one ultimate to make them think that we're serious, but then we save the rest, because you want to drain those ultimates. The worst case scenario in Overwatch for any team, regardless of what side they're on, is to blow 4 ultimates against, say, 4 ultimates, and then be the loser. Because now, not only have you lost momentum in the game, not only did they gain ult charge as they were slaughtering you on the winning end of that fight, you're not going to be able to set up. You're not going to have ultimates to bail you out of that situation. So you'd much rather lose a fight, but keep your ultimates than use your ultimates and still lose the fight.
Yeah, and so if you can ideally pull off that bum rush well, A, they can use their ultimates and you still win the fight, which is like the best case scenario. B, you rush in, you get a couple kills, and you force ultimates out of them and you still lose, which is an okay scenario. Or C, you rush in, you pop ultimates for some reason, they don't pop any, or sorry, you rush in, someone gets hooked and they don't pop any ultimates because they already have a 6-on-5 fight. So, I mean, you have two situations where it can work out in a positive manner for you and one where it can work out negatively. So ideally, you obviously want to go throughout, you said.
And one cool thing I think that people actually don't do enough in Overwatch, where players have theorized on it, but they don't really do it, is that I think there's a case where you can use one ultimate as sort of a beacon to make everyone use their ultimates.
Right.
Something like, for example, a Dragon Blade. You see Shadowburn come in over the top of the Dragon Blade, everyone's gonna go, oh god, we got Sound Barrier, we gotta use everything. But what if you just use this as a sacrifice to make everyone use their ultimates and then their team comes in for all?
I mean, it builds up quick enough, right?
Yep.
So not really too much of a loss for them, but it looks like LDLC are going directly for a fight immediately here. Metamorphosis got the charge on the Vonnefill, so 3 quick kills for LDLC.
LDLC making the most of this here, just getting right through at point A. Fnatic caught a little bit off guard, and Matt not going to be able to do a whole lot, and we should be seeing a lot more of that as time goes on. I mean, Meta got a cool Matt space there, and unfortunately, as a soldier, if you have a D.Va in your face, you're not going to be able to do a whole lot. Your weapon just doesn't allow you to do much. The D.Va might not kill you very quickly if your health station down, but the point is that you are neutralized, and that's what Meta probably needs to be doing the most here.
It's really confusing considering LDLC really didn't have many ultimates up, and Fnatic had quite a few. And yet LDLC still took the point with using minimal amount of ultimates. Like, that's a little bit confusing to me.
It's a little bit surprising. I mean, it's possible Fnatic got just caught off guard a bit by the pause, but it might not have been that. Just have been LDLC getting a really good pick off. But take a look at the defensive position here. You see Cool Matt in over the top. LDLC, they don't have too many heroes that can get in over the top to challenge him here, Jason.
Yeah, so he's going to have free reign in this position. Maybe he needs to move up a little bit as his team does progress further. You can see him still looking around just for a couple of targets to actually shoot off, and even a couple of pokes coming in towards the backside as Meta takes down Bud. So this position, it hasn't worked out terribly for him as he does take down Cabal and does get the man advantage, or at least time things up in a man advantage. Not to mention a tactical advisor being popped out of Clanton looking for him on the high ground, but he just can't really connect the shots because he can dance around them.
They are dancing around, and D.Va does come up over the top and forces Matt down, but you saw the Sound Barrier coming in from Fnatic there. It neutralized the offensive tag visor, but it doesn't matter. They're not able to pick off other kills because, look, Cool Matt got chased all the way to the back, and Ube was able to land hook after hook, took out both supports, and LDLC now, with a whole lot of momentum, and Fnatic, they desperately need to reestablish.
Yeah, Fnatic didn't even finish the map, but keep in mind, guys, they only have 2 points. They only got to 75.75 meters, and that means as long as LDLC finishes or just gets generally close enough, they will have been able to take this first map, the best of 3, which, considering who they're playing against, they should not really be expected to win.
Absolutely not. Right now, you take a look at LDLC. Clanton in over the top. Gonna get challenged here by Havik. We'll have Cool on soldier neutralization duty. Does take down Clanton with the Aegis and poke from his team. So now it's a 65 for Fnatic. And they're in a great position here where LDLC, they're not on the high ground. They're just getting challenged directly out. Bunny Blaster D.Va not going to deal with Custom's kicks very well.
I swear we need like a basketball skin Zenyatta where you just slam dunks people with the balls. Like, that'd be great for me. But yeah, I mean, taking a Zenyatta, like I was talking about this before, if you're typically like a backline diver, you see an Ana Lucio, you're like, all right, well, I'm not going to really kill them. They're not really going to kill me. But you see a Zenyatta, and there's very real potential that you're going to die.
Zenyatta is something that flankers love feasting on. We do have the explosion coming out there. Costa going to get hooked in. He was too far deep. Ube now potentially opening the door here for LDLC. We have the Earthshatter coming in from Snoop. Doesn't quite get as much as he wants. Good block there against Ube as both teams laying their ults on the table. Very back and forth right now. But Ube's still in a good position with these hooks, but here comes Sound Barrier from Fnatic, and that is going to let them push it back with the aid of the whole hog. Bud's cleaning house at the very end of Fnatic. Going to hold here.
So there's a minute and 10 left here for LDLC. They do have quite a few ultimates ready to go. The Sound Barrier you pointed out, actually Clown now at 6% of his ultimate, kind of not necessarily a waste, but didn't work out as well as they had hoped to. And Clanton has switched from a soldier over to Zarya, so they have a direct counter to Havik now. They're running quad tank, which makes Cabal even stronger on the Ana, but they're not running the soldier anymore, so if Kumat gets on the high ground, he's going to have a little bit of a field day.
All right, and right now for LDLC, Meta is potentially the key right now, holding on to that D.Va self-destruct. Here it comes in, over the top. Will the fireworks be successful? It does effectively get Snoop killed. It directed his attention. There's no shield tank here for the side of Fnatic. They're down 2 people, and Coolmat trying to bring him back. Does down Mesenmorse, but his team is dying all around him right now, Jason.
Ubich has been going ham in this game. It's ridiculous. He's gotten so many kills for his team. Halfco's just trying to delay the payload as long as he possibly can, but eventually he will be finished off as payload will be finally making its way around this corner, around the saloon. There's 20 seconds left. This is basically the last chance for LDLC to get this checkpoint, and there's no ultimates for either team.
But don't you think this is a little bit of a trap here for Fnatic, where they're going to rush out, they're not going to have positioning, and if they do get wiped trying to defend second, how likely are they to get good position here on last?
I think if they don't commit any ultimates, they're not really losing too much in this in the long run here. Apfel's just going to throw self-destruct in long range back to the lines of LDLC. He doesn't really get anything here, and so it seems like they will be committing some ultimates, but they haven't really done themselves anything. Mesenmorse says he's going to hit the charge. He gets on the bottom though of all targets, and he's going to fall from this one, but not before taking a man with him. Halfcool
right now still surviving right now on the point, and Fnatic, despite kind of a rough start, starting to push us back. The sound barrier comes up from LDLC. It was desperation, even though people are dead. And Halfcool really being the warrior right now, staying alive, getting pick after pick on the D.Va, and Fnatic able to hold on here on second, and they will take map number 1 here on Hollywood.
So ultimate Halfcool, it really didn't net them anything, but was able to stall for time, most importantly. I think it was able to, the biggest idea of it was to help them get out of the Golden Shower Studios, be able to push out without being attacked where they're in these choke points. So by throwing the self-destruct in the back, it kind of forced everyone to sit behind the Reinhardt shield so they couldn't push up to actually get that positioning. And from that, they're able to safely get out and then eventually take the fight. So,
and that's the interesting thing about self-destruct in general from D.Va is that, sure, sometimes you can get gigantic ultimates off to kill 3 or 4 people, but even if you kill no one, what it can do to the positioning of the other team, it causes chaos. It can cause a Reinhardt to get killed from poke damage or anything else. So it doesn't always have to be the immediate kills coming off that to actually win a team fight.
Nothing's worse than playing Reinhardt where there's a self-destruct behind you and an entire enemy team in front of you, and you have to choose, do I turn around or do I hold the front? Either way, you're probably going to die in that situation, so there's really nothing you can do.
It's like, what do you want your back to be hit with? A gigantic explosion or hit by about 5 different heroes? Either way, you're not really having a pleasant time.
So Fnatic, let's look at how they played. Do you think that was the Fnatic we're used to, the strong Fnatic we see in the past, or do you think that's just kind of a Fnatic going through some growing pains, adapting to the meta, adapting to the newest player on the team, and the transitions of roles?
I think there's a lot of similarities with the Fnatic in the past. Clearly, there are differences. One is that even if IDDQD was still in the team, you probably wouldn't be seeing anywhere near as much as McCree. They would need the soldier play anyways. I think that it's pretty clear when we saw Coolmat on the D.Va that they were definitely playing with it a little bit better in terms of tank initiations. But that kind of goes back to what we were mentioning on the desk earlier today, where tank coordination is hard to build up. Halfcool, when he is flexing on there, he's not doing bad with Stoop, but I think there's clearly a little bit missing. But that's more than made up for by Coolmat coming in and being this gigantic cannon of DPS.
Right, and even Buds has a tough time in that situation, playing the Roadhog from the Reaper, where I guess Reaper is more likely to work with the tanks than like a McCree will, but it's still, as a matter of fact, that he doesn't have a Wraithform to get away. He doesn't have really anything to escape with, so if he's going to have any help, it has to be from his tanks and from his supports. But in general, Fnatic playing well. LDLC, I didn't think they played bad. I really don't think they played bad at all. I think there was a couple of things where they were really stubborn in terms of not running a Lucio, running the Zenyatta and the Ana composition. But all in all, it wasn't actually bad. They just got held up in a couple of key situations.
Absolutely, and the interesting thing for LDLC too is that, again, this is where I think it threw our predictions off even earlier in the day, is that they didn't look all that strong yesterday, but they definitely leveled up here today. They dispatched Mouse very efficiently, and right now, sure, Fnatic might be having a little bit of growing pains, but they looked pretty good against Fnatic. It was not a bad showing by any means. It was very respectable. And though I think Fnatic still has the edge going into the next map, I think LDLC still has a puncher's chance.
So we have Dorado, and we have Numbani coming up next. We don't know which map is coming up as our second. Okay, it's going to be Numbani. It is confirmed. All right, so I was just checking. Numbani, though. I feel like this is a soldier paradise on the defending side. Like, what I love to do on this map is you get a soldier set up on the far ground on the point, you get a Zenyatta next to him, they can heal each other, Zenyatta can call out targets and like discord targets that only he can see since they're in the same position, and if you send anyone up there to deal with them, they're most likely going to die to a discord or to a discord with a soldier.
Well, that's absolutely right, and one thing we've been seeing right now from the team is that Soldier, back in the day, had maps that he was really, really good on. And one of those maps was Numbani. Gibraltar was another map, so I think teams are eager to bring him back out for that. In fact, Soldier was still run on Numbani from time to time, even last patch, where he was much weaker compared to his current form. So I agree, especially when you have Custa, where Custa looks for any excuse in the world to go for Zen over Ana. I think that if we saw Fnatic come out with that Soldier Zen defense, it could go down exactly as you just described.
And luckily for, I think, LDLC, you have the same tools in their kit to use. You have Cabal, on Zenyatta. He's been playing a fantastic Zenyatta. I think he's been equal footing with Custa for the most part. You've got Clanton there on the Soldier, able to play from the high ground. I think then it comes down to now the tank cores of the teams, right? It comes down to how the front lines are going to play in terms of how they initiate and how they actually push onto the point.
I agree. The one thing I would note, though, is I think Clanton has been struggling a little bit more in this matchup here of the Mouse because Fnatic just simply is not giving him the breathing room that he had earlier on today. He really has to fight for his ability to get free shots, whereas earlier today, I mean, he could have eaten a picnic just sitting on top there, doing whatever he wanted, just no pressure on him. Not the case here. Whoever it might be in Fnatic, whether it be Cool Matt on the times where he is on D.Va or Half a Cool, there's always someone in Clanton's face, and he's going to have to find a way of making more opportunities for himself.
So do you think that was due to Hollywood, though? Just how it's a little bit more linear and it takes a little bit too much of an investment to get on high ground in second phase? Or do you think that's just because Fnatic recognized the big targets they have to like kind of control?
I think Fnatic is very experienced, especially when it comes to Hollywood. They recognize the targets they have to go after. I mean, this is not their first rodeo. LDLC, of course, they do have some veteran talent on them as well, but you have to remember, this Fnatic squad, sure, they recently lost IDDQD, but the other 5 members have been together for a really long time.
Right.
I mean, they came out as Nubris way back in the day, and they've been pretty happy with each other, so experience-wise, comms-wise, calls-wise, in terms of going in and stuff, it's usually pretty top-notch.
So do you have a prediction for how this map's going to go in Nambani? I personally want to see it to go to a third map, like Dorado. LDLC looked really good on Dorado, shutting Mouse Sports down on that first point.
I would love for it to go to a third map, and I think Nambani is probably the most swingy of payload maps where sometimes a team can catch fire and you ride that momentum all the way to the end. I think that Fnatic, though, should be able to win this here, especially because, again, I think their Soldier play is going to be a bit stronger, especially if they put Cool Map on that defense, as we just mentioned. In fact, Nambani is also a map where Soldier's been strong. First point holds are not as uncommon as you might think. They're not the most likely, but if Fnatic came out here with a hold on point A, I also wouldn't be that surprised.
Yeah, I actually wonder, like, how much of a problem it might be for them if they do get held up, like, in the beginning. Like, if they do actually struggle. Like, if they can't take the first point as easy as they wanted to, like, will they have a problem?
I think so, and I mean, the thing about first point defense is that even when you don't get that full hold, which usually means you're going to win the map, if we had stats on, I think it'd be a case where a first point hold probably ends up in a win like 95 to almost like 97% of the time. It's just that much of a difference between the two teams. But even not, like if you hold for 3 minutes, it sets a different dynamic to the game where you know you're under time pressure for everything else thereafter. Every push, more vital. And as an offense, that's rough because it takes away your options. You can't go for junk rushes as much. You have to really make every push count. Whereas if you take point A quickly, you have more time. You're okay with losing some extra fights because you can manipulate the flow of the game much more to your advantage.
I really wish I had like a stat or like a number to like gauge 1 through 10 of how good a team is when it comes to when the pressures are being on. For instance, like if Team A gets repelled on like the first 3 attacks of like Nambani trying to take that first point, like how often do they bounce back from that? How often do they recognize the problems within the compositions and with their own strategies and with the way the other team's playing? And how quickly are they able to fix it? Because I actually wonder between these two teams, I would have to say that, you know, LDLC being a newer team in general would have the most problems coming back from a situation like that of being able to take a point after being held back so often.
I do agree, and teams do have identities. I mean, you look at things historically, teams like Envious, generally pretty durable, able to withstand even if they get hit with a haymaker early on, and then teams like FaZe, not so much.
Look at this, LDLC. This is a very odd composition. We've got a Winston and a D.Va as our 2 tanks. We've got double DPS out of Clanton on Tracer and Uva over on Genji. And of course, Cabal and Clown going to be on the Zenyatta and Lucio respectively. And the side for Fnatic pretty much going standard, as standard as you could ever go on attack nowadays.
I gotta say, I'm not sure I'm in love with this. Ube was doing really well on Roadhog. Even though LDLC didn't win the last game, Roadhog is great on defense. Running the Genji here and running it into Cool Mat, where a Soldier right now can really suppress a Genji. We'll see if it works out, but I don't know if this is the matchup that LDLC generally wants.
Well, it's going to be tough. There's a lot of things to really control Uba here as he's trying to come in, but they've given up a lot of ground here. Fnatic have been able to get on this high side. They've actually dropped quite a few people because the rest of LDLC are in main, but look at this. Clanton and Clown pair together and pick up 2 quick kills.
They were able to engage Fnatic and just caught them off guard. Fnatic came in over the top. LDLC was ready to ambush them from both sides, so very decisive coming out from LDLC there. Definitely caught Fnatic with their pants down. Now, Jason, what do you expect Fnatic to do going to the next point? Do you think they're still going to be coming in from the top, or they try some of the razzle-dazzle, go around from the other side type shenanigans?
I think there's no reason for them to not go to top again and just stay up there a little bit longer. Like, you can withstand the siege. You have every hero you need to deal with the Genji Tracer long-range spam. Like, why not kind of stick up there, look for a pick yourself, try to get some early damage down, and then engage off of that. There's no reason for them to really drop towards main and fall directly into the trap LDC has set.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing right now. All 6 members are up, but immediately, Cloud and Mesomorphs able to strike blood. A unanswered 3 kills coming in from LDLC, and they made it look pretty easy. They were able to catch Fnatic off guard again, coming in from that back flank. So even though in theory Fnatic should be able to stand up here, it's not working out. And the bigger issue here, Jason, as you look at it, momentum-wise, LDLC is going to have a lot of tools to work with going to the next fight because they've been winning these fights so decisively. Look at the ult advantage.
Yeah, they do. They definitely have the ult advantage. I'm worried about when it comes to the cool map, though, this tactical visor and the nano boost. Like, what do you have to stand behind to protect yourself from this? You have almost nothing, but this Discord coming through. The NA heals as well, trying to keep Coolmat alive. Somehow this man has not gone down.
I don't know how. Coolmat's still alive. He didn't get any kills off that yet. 5v5 right now on the point, but Fnatic starting to get a little bit more value here on this point. Stupid to back out for a moment. It's a brawl right now. Both teams trading kill for kill. Look at Custa. No one's on him in the back. This is the most unpressured Ana ever. He's healing up his team, doing a good deal of damage. And even though Fnatic is lost more people here, the respawns are going to be coming in soon. And look at him just keep half a cool up. Finally, they recognize the Ana's in the back, but half a cool looking immortal right now.
Custa with the sleep dart coming through as well. Actually gets saved by half a cool picking up the kill. So now we have a man advantage for Fnatic. We have an ult advantage technically right now because Cloud and Uba aren't able to get back in time as Cloud's finally able to join the party and pop the sound barrier. But Uba, he's going to have his Dragon Blade when he arrives.
All right, so Ube might be able to be the savior right now. He's going to have to be. Cloud is going down. LDLC with all sorts of not great positioning. Momentum is against them. And I think Ube might just be only the try, but no, he's going in. He's going to try and be the hero. Moves to the back, picks up one, onto the point, swinging, slicing, dicing, ends up getting thrown right back out. Buds swapping to the Tracer, able to get some work done there. Unfortunately for LDLC, they threw some good money after bad there.
Yeah, that actually was a really good hold considering like a minute of time left to go here for Fnatic. They're obviously going to be able to capture the point. Great use of the ledge dash out of Uba actually to get in towards the back line to go straight directly on a Coolmat. So he had no opportunity to run away, but that sound barrier to Vonifil was just a little bit too much health for him to deal with. And now LDLC not changing things up, it seems. They seem more than happy to stay on this composition to defend in the street phase.
Yeah, and we'll see if that works out. I mean, it wasn't bad on point A. The question is, are they going to be able to get the flanks and catch Fnatic off guard the way they were before? And are they going to be able to deal with Fnatic's engages? Because Fnatic is going to have a much better time engaging on them from the street setup. Half a Cool going to be looking for that self-destruct here any moment. Actually pretty low, so I got to imagine it's going to be flying out here sooner rather than later. LDLC being very aggressive on this defense here. We'll see if it works out.
Yeah, they're being really aggressive, but Mesomorphs is very much by himself here on the Winston. He actually had the power range available, but he didn't pop it down. Even the self-destruct going towards the backline. Meza picks himself up a double. Even the Transcendence coming in the Cabal just to make sure everyone stays alive, but in towards the back, it's Half a Cool who seemed to have netted almost nothing with his self-destruct, and now he's just being chased away and forced away from this fight.
Half a Cool was a diva on a mission. Unfortunately, mission failed, getting just thrown off the edge with authority.
There was a second there, Uba's like, I want to chase that kill. I want to kill him as he's diving over the wall, but I'll probably die if I go for it, so I'm gonna keep cool and back off.
You know, it might have been worth. Regardless, it's a good defense here by LDLC. They're being really aggressive, keeping Fnatic off this point, and honestly, probably catching Fnatic a bit off guard. The Primal Rage is in, knocking them back. They managed to grab Stoop there again. So for Fnatic, I think they just need to step back and breathe here because LDLC has been continually catching them off guard with engages at just unconventional areas.
I'm actually surprised to see LDLC fight in this position in terms of investing ultimates into the fight because they're going to respawn so quickly and so nearby that there's not really a return on investment for you. Yeah, you might pick up a kill or two, but they're going to come back a few seconds later and then you're not going to have those ultimates up.
All right, so next fight, we're going to have Tactical Visor here versus Dragon Blade, and Dragon Blade going to win, immediately slicing down Matt. Ube having himself a time of his life in the backline, finally goes down the Buds, but the damage, the distraction was done. It pushed Fnatic all the way back. They're not on the payload right now. They are going to try and push forward with respawns. Buds, that would have been huge if you got that hook there, Jason, but not quite getting it, and LDLC should have one more chance to defend this in second.
So the downside or the upside of losing that fight for LDLC is that they're still going to have a second chance to defend on this point. So it's not really that big of a loss in the end, and they're able to drain a lot of time away from the clock of Fnatic. But here's the engage coming back in against Downbear already being popped by Vonifil as well as a Transcendence out of Cabal.
Transcendence is out right now. Both teams throwing all their cards on the table. Minute left here for Fnatic. Diva self-destruct on the payload. Not going to do much, but will keep LDLC back. Self-destruct goes down the back. 5v5 from both times, and there's the hammer from Snoop. Gonna knock down two, and that's exactly what Fnatic needed to break through this. There's still a little bit of tanks up here for LDLC, but they are fighting a losing battle.
Yeah, there's really not much you can do for this one. Mesmer's just trying to knock off Buzz from the entirety of this map here, but gets swept up, and eventually he will be finished off. But now Fnatic will get some extra time on the board, but considering how much we talked up Fnatic of being good on Nabani, they are starting to struggle here. Like, this is not the time that I would have expected them to put up so far in this match.
Absolutely not. Fnatic's offense has had a lot of trouble here, and it's been against a somewhat unconventional defense, too. I wasn't really sold on Ube coming in with the Genji, but it's been working out. He's really been using it to dive on Matt with Dragon Blade whenever possible. I think the entire idea here is that, and sort of what we saw from Misfits, is that you dive hard on Cool Matt, take him away, and make the rest of Fnatic beat you. And they're okay trying to just play around Buds.
And to be fair, Mesmer's and Uba were doing together a really good job with the Winston dived in there as well to give him some cover, give him some control. But that's another hook coming in. Mesmer's, he's got no shield available anymore. He's got to be forced to charge back in. He does hit it, and they do get a kill off of this, but now Cool Matt's able to return.
Cool Matt able to bring it right back on, and there's the hook for Buds. Oh no, the payload! Gonna stop him getting that hook. Ends up getting counter-hooked in turn. That could have been huge for Fnatic, but the payload being the friend of the defense here, and that very well could have been a game-defining swing, as LDLC is gonna bring this right back, clean up the remainder, and really restabilize their defense with Fnatic. Oh my goodness.
Ball.
All they needed was a little bit of crouching there, and it would have been perfect, but Jason, we're down to a minute left. Fnatic on potentially their last shot.
Yeah, they're switching some things up too. Look at this. Half the cool is going to be on McCree. So the double hit scan composition out of Fnatic. They don't have the Diva anymore to give them protection, but they've got a hell of a lot of damage. And Mesomorphosis is going to have such a tough time to keep his shield up when he's got this much damage coming his way. And not to mention a Deadeye can really be the cozy factor for Fnatic to finish off this half.
All right, so Fnatic, they do have the Time Bear on the ready. Everything can be on the table here. 30 seconds left. This is their last best window. Attack Visor can come out here from defense first. Clanton looking to start things off on a big note, but ends up getting hooked back as Roadhog himself thrown on a ride. It's Meta taking down Half-a-Cool, 5v5 right now, but the defense keeping Fnatic back. This is really good to get those pickoffs. They're okay with trading out here given where their respawns are.
Exactly. As long as they make it so Fnatic can't push a 6 and have some momentum, then it's looking good for LDLC to hold them to finish off the map. There's about 5 seconds remaining here, and Fnatic, they're on the payload. They're continuing to push it, but it looks like LDLC are just going for a last attack, a last hold.
LDLC coming right back in. They will have the numbers advantage for a moment. Here comes a Sound Bear. That's going to let them push into Fnatic once more. You take a look at Reinhardt, Alis with the hammer, making ruin the point, and they're losing a few people, but they're getting more kills in turn. The Graviton doesn't get too much done, but here comes Ube. The whole hog out. He's going to push Stoop away. They just want to try and get them off this payload. We'll see if it works out. Half-a-Cool, though, going for some last moment heroics on Tracer. Picks up 2. Fnatic not out of here just yet.
Stoop has Earthstrider as well. They've already invested the transcendence to keep them alive, and when this hammer comes down, it could be the hopes of LDLC holding on to this map. He's going to get a double Cloud and Meta together. He's going to pull them in, and that's going to be a double kill. This payload, it most certainly should be finishing off.
It's getting really, really close right now. Defensive respawns are coming up of Fnatic, starting to win this tug of war, starting to hold it out. Ube looking to be the hero, just buying any sort of time for his team. He's thrown off the payload, and Fnatic, with 0 seconds left on the clock, will be finishing out the round. But, Jason, here's the interesting thing about Nabani. It's a hybrid map. So now, all LDLC has to do on their attack is just finish with above 1 minute left on the clock, and then there's no way they can lose, but they'll still get a final attack.
That is true. I mean, at minimum, it's going to be a tie going on to a tiebreaker map. So yeah, I mean, honestly, it was well done. Like going into this, I think most people out there had Fnatic as a favorite. And with what we saw on Hollywood, it was most likely going to be more of a one-sided match. But LDLC, they came out strong there, defending on Nabani that long in the first point, down to a minute remaining. And then as the aggressive defense they pulled off right in the faces of Fnatic, really prevented them from getting really any momentum to finish off the map.
And here's the thing for LDLC right now. We talk about how much pressure a team is under, what they're dealing with. All the pressure in the world is on Fnatic. They have the pedigree of a top-level team. You want to see Fnatic not just win this tournament, but go on to challenge the very big titans in the scene. Whereas LDLC, they're a newer team in the scene, and already I kind of feel like they've proven their point. They could go down here and still feel very good about their performance here at DreamHack. So for them, I kind of feel like they're playing a bit with the house money.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's it. Like you said, there's no pressure on LDLC to perform, but there's pressure on Fnatic to not lose. And that's a very good thing to have on your side if you're a fan of LDLC, and obviously very detrimental if you're on the side of Fnatic. But let's see, Fnatic going for, again, the double hit scan with Buds and Cool Matt. So the McCree and the Soldier. And then for the side of LDLC, they're switching things up themselves. They're going with what worked on defense. So if you're Cool Matt here or your Buds, and you get jumped on by Uba and, well, actually there was a Winston, but they switched off, then you have a tough time. But they still have Meta there to pair with Uba.
So I think the reason why you're seeing Buds come out here in the McCree is just to deal with Ube here. They're saying, okay, you know what? Soldier can be good at suppressing Genji, but the one who's good at just deleting him in 2 shots, if they're well placed, is a McCree. Bud's going to be looking to suppress him here. Now, we do have a bit of a pause, so get a little bit more time to talk about this here, Jason, but Do you think Ube is going to stand this Genji if Buds is getting anything done at all on that McCree?
I think I think ideally he won't stay on it if he does get controlled by Buds, but then again, ideally, if he's playing the Genji and it works correctly, then Buds is not going to be a problem. I actually like the pairing of the D.Va and the Genji together, because if you're running into a hit scan target, what better than to have an ability that completely eliminates any damage they can do to you if you're the Genji.
So you're saying then it's coming down to the teamwork between the D.Va and the Genji here, where the D.Va...
I think, yeah.
She's going to need to neutralize Buds. Get on top of him, go from there.
I think it depends on where Buds and Coolmat hold. Like, if they hold together, then it's going to be tough. Actually, I don't know, it can go both ways, right? You could either kill Ube extremely quickly, or it means that they could both die and then they lose the entirety of the point.
Well, on the same note, though, talking about the D.Va gang and the neutralize, that could be a danger if they're together, because then D.Va, her defensive matrix has a really big radius. She can get in, neutralize both of them for a moment, and that might be all Ube needs to go in, dash into both of them, get a free 50 damage. And D.Va, I mean, her damage is no slouch here either when she does attack, so it's going to be interesting how that works out. I do think that if they can get that combo working well, it'd be interesting, but Coolmat and Buds are pretty smart with their positioning. I don't know if they're going to give them those great opportunities.
See, I would like a Roadhog better, assuming Clanton is going to play Soldier and play Standard, because if you hook Buds, you hook Coolmat, you eliminate like a huge portion of their damage, and also they don't really have the protection they're going to need unless they play with the Reinhardt Stoop, which is going to be right next to the staircase that they come up anyways. So either they're going to be separated or behind that, but either way, like, you're going to have so much damage to eliminate the Reinhardt shield with no D.Va in the enemy team. Actually, we do see D.Va on Half-a-Cool to really kind of prevent that.
All right, so we are underway. LDLC looking to bring this to a third map, trying to shock Fnatic here at DreamHack. We'll see if they can do that. Winston going to be looking to jump in over the top, making that space for Ube. Buds and Coolmat going to be looking to express them then. Reservoir's just going right in. They're looking to isolate Stoop. Stoop getting flanked by both tanks here. Stoop has no lifeline on whatsoever. Needs to get healed up, but lots going on. Coolmat grabbing Clanton immediately. 2 kills here from Fnatic, and the crossfire defense kind of working out here, Jason.
Yeah, Ube actually, he went straight towards the back, tried to go for Buds, but he missed the reflect on the flashbang, which caused him to be down to 30 HP and forced back. And I think maybe there's some miscommunication too, because Metamorphosis, he sat on Stoop instead of trying to go in towards the back line.
Well, it's interesting. I'm sure Stoop felt very uncomfortable. I mean, he had 2 people in the front, in the back. But while that was going on, Fnatic, they're really spread out on this point. It's a classic crossfire defense, and I think they're okay. I mean, listen, they might love Stoop, but they're totally okay sacrificing him if they kill everyone else. And Stoop, you know,
he understands. He might not like it, but he understands. Like, he wants to win. Now we start looking at ultimates. Meta at 63% already. That's actually really high on the D.Va, as well as Half-a-Cool at 60%, and they're able to chase directly towards the back. He fights the Helix rockets directly into them, and now this is looking good for LDLC.
That was amazing coming up from Ube. The double deflect ends up getting killed climbing the wall, and Fnatic actually fighting this back despite that opening. Real power coming out here from Half-a-Cool, and I gotta say, Half-a-Cool's been controlling this fight really well. He's been going to the areas that need the most support, but it might not be enough. The respawns from LDLC coming in here. Unfortunate for Half-a-Cool, crouching up and down as Bunny D.Va, not gonna be doing quite as much as they want. And this is good for LDLC. They got this on the second attack. They have 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. They're about to get a whole lot more time. This is momentum they needed.
Well, that's where we talk about, you know, grouping up together, being split up like with Buds and Coolmat, and you have to pair Custo with this one. You reflect one Helix rocket, and that's a lot of damage, especially in a hallway that you get for free out of the Genji. So a little bit unfortunate for them, but nonetheless, credits LDLC still take that point with really not much problem. It took 2 attacks, and they were successful. And again, they're still sticking to this Winston D.Va, the Genji, and the Tracer composition.
And do you expect Fnatic to be as aggressive on their defense here, or are they going to be holding a little bit further back?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, they're going to have to kind of hold back a little bit, I guess, considering that they want to dive in towards the backside against it, but Meta still somehow picks up Vonethil, the Lucio, one of the easiest targets to actually get away from a self-destruct, and that's going to allow him to continue to push forward.
Indeed, and the self-destruct does get that first kill, but Fnatic, they still have some key damage dealers up. Buds is up, Coolmat is up. They even have the tac visor, so Buds slowly but surely keeping Fnatic in this fight. And I don't know about this Transcendence here. This is a little bit risky. They're down too many players. Buds with Deadeye gets neutralized by the D.Va, but his team is supporting him from all angles. I think LDLC thought they had more there than they actually had.
Yeah, so even while being a man down, they still somehow salvage that fight. And with 4 ultimates available, with Vonethil having the sound barrier, this is going to be tough for LDLC to crack. If you imagine they're trying to jump into the back line, kill Coolmat or Buds or Custer or Vonethil, there's just so much available for the side of Fnatic that I don't really see LDLC successfully killing people when they go for the dive.
And here's the problem for Ube. He might dive in right now, but Vonethil is holding on to that sound barrier, so that's going to really stop him from doing what he wants to do. Sound barrier's out, but no, he grabs Buds before it hits. Buds is down. What an opening. Coolmat, though, in over the top. Aerial attack visor coming in. D.Va goes in on him, but he just ignores D.Va, jumps down, and is still getting the damage he needs. 2 kills here from Fnatic, and they're gonna pull this back, despite Ube kind of doing his job and getting buds early on in that fight.
Yeah, LDLC, I think they're just a little bit too squishy for this team. Oh, a double post bomb comes off, takes down Snoop, takes down half gold, Cloud picks up Vonethil, and a fight that was going Fnatic's way has quickly turned around for LDLC.
Clanton right now with his best Soon impression. We've been seeing Tracer Pulse Bombs doing all sorts of work all day long and not set up anything in a lot of cases, just a raw Pulse Bomb opening the way, and Clanton right now can pat himself on the back because he's put LDLC in a phenomenal position to keep this moving forward. Fnatic has to hold this for 4 minutes, Jason, or at the very least they need to hold it for about 3 minutes and 5 seconds so they get an attack of their own if we do go into another set of rounds.
This is going to be tough, but if there's any team that can do it, it's definitely Fnatic. We do have Transcendence coming up for Cabal. And Clanton is still looking for an avenue, looking for a possibility to attack here towards the right-hand side, but with this self-destruct coming through, it forces them back. No one dies from it this time, but now the Nano Boost, the Deadeye all coming through.
Deadeye coming in. Fnatic, though, not getting kills off this just yet. You see Meta right now chasing down Buds. Buds looking for an adult right now, just needs help. Even though will get taken out, he does get that help he's looking for, and it's a bloody fight, but Fullmat able to stay alive in the back, getting the poke he needs, and they're pushing LDLC back, but when the flankers are still up, you gotta respect Clanton coming in here because he's making an impact here on this Tracer.
Yeah, and he's just waiting for that pulse bomb to come back up. And in a meta that's so heavily reliant on picks, sticking a pulse bomb on someone is like a guaranteed instant kill, or 2, or 3, depending on how close it actually grouped up together. So if he can pull this off now at 90% of this pulse bomb, you can say goodnight to Fnatic, but they still have 4 big ultimates ready. Coolman's actually sitting on his tactical visor quite a long time here. He's very intricate, very smart about when and how he wants to use it.
Tactical visor is an ultimate that's very easy to waste. You want to have good position. Here comes Ube, though, in over the top, holding onto that blade, ready to unsheath it. Doesn't like what he sees here. He's going to wait till 10 minutes down, but Clanton finds Stu, blows him up. 65 here for LDLC, and Ube not going to get that Dragon Blade off. Buzz is able to stop him before it did anything significant. Both teams fighting off here. Self-destruct in the back line. Going to hold LDLC back a little bit, but they're still able to keep momentum here, Jason.
Yeah, not as clean as the fight as they wanted to, but Clanton, again, these pulse bombs have been able to hit, and honestly, credit to Buds to be able to deal with Uva in this situation, because if he can't eliminate him, if that Dragon Blade comes out and they lose their back line, keep in mind, like, they're not running the triple tank setup, right? They're not running really tanky heroes. You have Buds, who's extremely squishy, Coolmat as well, and then you have the 2 supports. If you get this Dragon Blade off in the right position, especially now with Meta switching over to Zarya and a Graviton Surge, Fnatic are going to be in trouble.
All right, well, for LDLC, this might be one of their very best pushes that they're going to have. I do think we're going to be seeing the Nano Boost into Dragon Blade here. It's a common combo, and here he goes. It's exactly what's going on. Goes to the back line, trying to get anything done. Soundbearer going to keep him alive. It's looking rough, but the Earth Shatter from Stoop ruins his day, charges him into the wall. Great reaction there from Fnatic, but it's a big distraction. LDLC is still hanging in here on this fight.
The Big Bang's actually ready now, too. Clanton's at 96%, so I think they're just going to back away from this fight. There's no reason for them to continue to try to go for this one. Just sit back, don't lose anyone. You've got 1 minute and 30 left remaining, and all it takes is 1 big kill or 1 big combo. But Clowney's gone down. They've lost their Lucio. They need that man to force these engagements.
Now, going forward to the next fight here, Jason, how dependent are they on landing that Big Bang combo with the time that's left?
Huge. 100% huge. Like, they need something big to happen and have a clean 6-0 fight to be able to push this payload across. Like, the distance it still has to cover will allow a couple of respawns to come back through. But Buds, I don't know why he's that far up. He actually probably got hooked in by Ube there, and now they're fighting 5v6. This is going to look bad for them.
And right now, they're just looking for the finish here. If they can land that Graviton, Meta looking for his team over the top, Clanton hanging on to that finish here. Big Bang combo very well could be what they need. And that Earth Shatter came down and didn't do anything. It went into the wall. That was a big mistake coming out from Mesomorphs and Fnatic. Coming back in. Deadeye is out.
That Deadeye can't actually, the Graviton Surge came through onto Buds, and even a pulse bomb was invested onto Buds, but they didn't kill him. They didn't do anything until finally Cabal was able to take that down on the Ana, and now the Nano Boost that Mesomorphs is going to allow him to do a hell of a lot of damage, but the thing is, he's already lost quite a few teammates, with Uba and Meta going down, the self-destruct as well being thrown in, and I think Fnatic will be able to hold this attack.
Fnatic right now, they're coming so close to that hold. Only 30 seconds left for LDLC. Their tournament life is on the line. Clanton looking for a miracle right now, but all his teammates are dead around him. And here's the problem with that, Jason. Now, 18 seconds left. They're going to have to try and force this overtime. Fnatic, they're going so far out. I don't even think they want LDLC to touch this point.
Well, they're at least going to have Clanton to be able to rush in, or at least try to rush past them here. There's 7 seconds remaining. They have to touch this payload. Cloud is finally speeding them up. They're going to get, I think they can be able to at least contest it for now. They're at least going to be able to throw it into overtime, but it comes down to the fight after.
Right now, it's an overtime. Fnatic looking to put this away. Here comes Ube, whole hog on the menu, pushing people back, fighting for his tournament life, but it is a brawl right now. Fnatic striking blood right back, 4v4 on the payload. LDLC hoping for the miracle, but the hope gets grimmer and grimmer by the second. Fnatic respawns are on the way, and Ube getting pushed back, not able to heal. Ana denying him, and overtime going the fade. So goes LDLC as Fnatic will move on.
And Clanton was so close to touching that payload again. I think that's why they backed away, assuming that the Tracer was going to be the man to keep it into overtime as everyone else backed off, waiting for the respawns to come back in. But even though Fnatic do pick up a 2-0 victory, that was not as clean as a 2-0 victory as we expected.
No, not at all. And it was a great showing for LDLC, where I feel like, in a way, I almost feel like both teams got a bit of what they want here. Fnatic, this was a must-win situation for them. But LDLC did not look like pushovers. This looked like a team where, if you're LDLC, you want to invest in this team. You want to upgrade this team. You want to get them the support they need, because this was a great showing against one of the truly top teams in the game. So, in the end, Fnatic takes the victory. LDLC certainly sad about going out of the tournament, but not the worst day for them.
So if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be NIP against Fnatic in one of the semifinals, and now Misfits against the winner, against the winner of Complexity and Penta. So we almost have our semifinals completely shaped up here. That's going to be an interesting, actually, semifinal between NIP and Fnatic, because NIP have been actually practicing against them, and NIP said Fnatic is one of the few teams that's actually given them some problems.
Absolutely, and it's a case where Fnatic, I think they might match up a little bit better against NIP, because they're running things like the D.Va pretty well, where it hasn't historically been NIP's strong point. So we'll see if they can get in, and that matchup's a little bit better for them. But to break down all the action here, we're going to be throwing it back to our talented panel. Zoe and the others, take it away.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, let's break this game down. It wasn't quite as one-sided as you guys might have hoped, right? LDLC really gave them a run for the money, and really, I applaud them. I think they played really, really well. Let's talk about Hollywood first. At one point of time, they had to switch their soldier out for Zarya and kind of went like quad tank. Why is that?
Well, yeah, I thought it was because they were kind of losing the soldier v soldier battle. Like on Hollywood, it's all about the high ground, except if you feel like ignoring the high ground, which I guess they chose to do. And then Cool Matt had just gotten everything that he wanted from the top ground and was beating him up. So they decided, we can't deal with the high ground, let's switch to Zarya.
But I feel like running those 4 tanks played right into the Zenyatta soldier combination, because they couldn't actually even get to the soldier at that point, because they were just getting Discord orbed and cut down pretty quick.
Right.
We actually got a replay ready for you guys, so let's take a look at the first one we have for you.
This is where they're running a dive defense, oddly enough, because we're looking for the dive offense, and they let them up the stairs, and they knock a player off and go finish him. That's the rest of the team diving on him, and it was really interesting because we were all really stoked to see the dive offense, the super dive with the D.Va and the Winston, and then we saw they're running it. And they're running it on defense. Okay, let's see what happens.
I actually want you guys to talk a little bit more about that, because obviously dive meta, we had that in the past, but never a dive defense. That's just not really ever been a real thing. How comes that worked out?
It's an interesting strategy, I guess, on Numbani, just because I guess they don't feel comfortable fighting on that high ground. So I guess the way to combat it is to just knock them down and just take the aggression right to them. But you saw once Fnatic switched over to double hit scan, they had no real answer for it.
The double hit scan was, I think, the really important switch that they made. It's kind of still interesting with this Fnatic team that Hafi wanted to go onto McCree momentarily a couple times, and then Buzz ended up running the McCree. And it worked out for them running double hit scan against these tanks, but going against the dive offense, it really shuts down a Tracer. You can see it shut down a Genji as well. So you really need that flashbang and then the focus fire to really take down.
It just seems like Fnatic's still trying to figure out who fits in which role the best.
A little bit.
Who is going to be the McCree when they need one, who's going to switch over and play D.Va.
Right.
It seems like right now it's kind of just by committee, because they're so good, they're so versatile, they can do that. But I definitely think they need to kind of shore up these roles and figure things out a little bit.
I think the role they have shored up is that Hafi, you're staying on D.Va. I mean, every time
it was every time he did switch.
Yeah.
Sometimes he switched for 30 seconds or something, and then all of a sudden he was back on D.Va. It's like,
guys,
no, he probably got told off.
Yeah. It's like, no, go back.
Go back.
I got this.
Yeah. You're new, you're on D.Va.
That's how it is. Now we have a second replay for you as well, of course.
Was it Deadeye towards the end? It's looking for something, but it's really good positioning, actually. Everyone finds out at the end. And then it's from downtown, the Zarya ult to really isolate Buds, who had given them problems before, as they do rotate in here now, trying to clean it up towards the end.
Yeah, but once they brought the McCree into the equation, they the side of LDLC couldn't get anything going, right? I mean,
Right.
the Genji was not effective, Tracer wasn't really effective, and I'm surprised they didn't actually switch off of that to something different.
You see the over-response to the McCree as he gets solo Zarya ulted from a mile away. Now that's when you know you're doing your job, is when Zarya throws her ult just at you.
Yeah.
And now we can welcome to our panel Cool Matt from Fnatic. Congratulations, you guys made it into the semifinals. LDLC, however, did give you a run. Did you expect that?
Yeah, we scrimmed them. They're actually a really good team. Yeah, we thought that they would. We didn't know that their Nambani was that exact strat. We thought that our Nambani was going to be really strong against them, and it was all right. But
How
we didn't
thrown off were
underestimate
you
them.
by like defensive dive strats? Like, did that surprise you very much?
A little bit. We didn't expect it. We're better against standard stuff, but what I would consider standard is like, you know, soldier and tank comps. We're better against that right now than we are against dive comps. So.
Now, actually, something you've been saying, that Numbani seems to be the map where people just try out crazy strats. Why is that from a pro player's perspective? Why is it always Numbani where you go for wonky stuff?
I don't know. Nambani seems like there's a lot of flanks, and it's always been like the flanker map because of that. And I guess that's just a map where the flanks work the best. A lot of like different angles for people to approach from. It works really well with Genji. It always has. Genji Tracer.
So I had misspoke. I was reading ban information wrong. You guys, they're just taking Kingsrow away from you immediately. Everyone's taking it. You just can't
We
pick
full
it.
held everyone in Kingsrow.
Yeah.
So I was reading it wrong. I just wanted to clarify that that's not something you guys are misdoing. But obviously you're still struggling a little bit on control points. Do you guys know why? What's up with control?
I think that we just need to take some time to actually strat those, and it's not a secret, so I can talk about it. But we haven't actually taken the time to strat them properly like we have with Payload. I feel like I'm a little biased against those maps, so I feel like Payload has a lot more strategy to it. So
If you would have to like pin a finger down on something or point a finger down on something, what do you think is always the issue on those control maps then?
I always feel like that it's really, you have a choke and it's really snowbally. So you're trying to re-engage and they have like ult advantage on you. You never get it. You have to always go through a tiny choke and you're spammed. I just don't, I don't like
I'm sure you were happy when you saw Ilios then in the last series.
I just, Koth can go down the drain.
Now, you guys struggled a bit versus Misfits.
Yeah,
it's a series we didn't get the chance to talk to you after that. What do you think went wrong in that one?
I don't know, a little shaky
Yeah.
going into it. We performed really well in scrims against them, like extremely well, but it's scrims. So I think we were warming up. A lot of us, I wasn't like playing as good as I could. So I think that going into it again, we could probably take them if we played them again. We needed a little bit of warm up, I think.
Why?
Did they scrim the Widow against you, or was that kind of a curveball?
They scrimmed it against us.
Okay.
Okay, simple as that. No, that was
I felt like
okay.
we dealt with
It's
the
good to
Widow.
know.
We dealt with
For
the
the
Widow,
audience,
right.
I
We
wanted
did,
to know that, right?
That's okay. That means this is
expected
your
the Widow.
stage. It's like you can do whatever you want. Now, Kumat, thank you so much for taking the time and have
you.
that quick chat with us. And of course, good luck in your first semi-final games. We hope to maybe talk to you after the next one.
You will.
Again, I will.
I like the
That's a
confidence.
promise.
I like the confidence.
I like that too. Now, what I would also like is if you guys would head over to Twitter to participate in a little raffle. You can actually win a GeForce GTX. The only thing you have to do is tweeting out game ready, or rather hashtag game ready at NVIDIA_UK, and you get a chance to win that. We are now going to take a look at the brackets to see where we currently stand in this tournament, as we just had a very exciting match between LDLC and Fnatic, and that means we only have one more decider game left. So let's take it from the top. Fnatic went up against Mousesports. 2-1 was the result of that, and the easy as that, the brackets are gone. I can't read it.
That's all you have to know.
Yeah, it was a really interesting game. Let's just say it like that. But now, we did have a lot of really, really good games so far. And I'm going to be very interested to see what the last one will bring to us. You reckon it's going to be as interesting as this one, or maybe a bit more one-sided?
I feel like Complexity probably takes this next one going up against Penta. I feel like Complexity looked really good in their match yesterday and finished off stream. They end up losing it against NIP, but I feel like Complexity definitely showed us some new things that we haven't seen before.
I think all the qualifier teams were teams that expected to get to the semifinals, and it's been an interesting road on the way there, but I would be
Not been easy.
No, it is not. I'd be very surprised if Complexity did not round out the group of qualifiers making it to our semis.
Well, we never know. Maybe Penta has something up in their sleeves. We will find out very soon. First, we're going to head into a quick break, and then we're back with the last decider match of the day. It's going to be Penta going up against Complexity.